first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. I appreciate you joining us wherever you found us. Thank you for tuning into this show. We are joining you right now, and live, happening currently, there is the sentencing hearing for Kirkland Warren, who was charged with the murder and the shooting deaths of 27-year-old Meshay Melendez and her daughter, 7-year-old Layla Stewart, in 2023. He has pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and aggravated first-degree murder. He also pleaded guilty to first-degree child molestation for sexually assaulting Layla before murdering her. I'm giving you that information so you know the context of what you're about to be watching, which is a vigil that took place earlier today outside of the Vancouver courtroom where this sentencing is currently going. Now, we are not allowed to go live from that courtroom. We do have our reporters there, and so we will be getting you that verdict as soon as we have it. We do expect, though, that it will be a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole for the aggravated murder charge. That's what we're expecting. We don't have the official word of that yet, as that sentencing is happening right now. Once that's completed, we'll get that information out to you. But we did want to bring you this vigil that was brought to you by members of the family and some other people from the community who wanted to honor the two of them and talk about this conviction ahead of this sentencing. So let's go ahead and play this vigil right now for you.
Good afternoon. I'm Michelle Bart. That's Michellebart. I am the president and CEO of the National Women's Coalition Against Violence and Exploitation, other known as NWCAVE. We have been representing Nicole Norris and her family since March of 2023, when Meshay Melendez and Layla Stewart were missing. Our missing children's division got involved, and at that point, when their bodies were found in Washougal, we were actually with a bunch of volunteers ready to go on flyer distribution. It's been a long road to get here, a very long road. And this is just a few of us that could make it out on a work day. The family and friends will pile into the courtroom number 501 today to see somewhat justice prevail. Victims' impact statements will be read. You're going to hear some horrible information that got us here. We have been quiet. Our client has not spoken to many of you for over a year and a half. And as I've mentioned to many reporters over the course of time, it's a real sad day when victims of crime have to stay silent in order to preserve the outcome of a trial. As we know, the trial never took place. So let's fast forward to why we're here today, to make sure that justice prevails, and at the end of the day, Meshay Melendez and Layla Stewart have a voice. They are the victims of a heinous crime that should have never, ever, ever taken place. And knowing a lot of the evidence, it's going to be a heavy day in this courtroom. This is a monster that should have never been let out, and after the sentencing, we will emphasize that and how the judicial system failed a mother and daughter, and how during Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we all need to stand up and say, no more excuses. Enough is enough. And the person that continues to do all of these events for us, family and friends, are led by Tara. Where is she? She's a grandmother. It takes a lot to do the vigils. It takes a lot to do the searches when they were missing. It takes a lot to do events because birthdays and holidays have gone by. It's been a very, very difficult case, and we should have never been here. I will emphasize that after sentencing, but at the end of the day, Meshay and Layla should still be alive today if it wasn't for this system that failed them. Questions?
How are you feeling heading into court today?
Please. You've made all these shirts and everything. How are the family and friends feeling going into sentencing today?
I don't know, just sad, nervous.
A little closer.
Sad, nervous, I don't know, angry.
Very angry. Very angry. Victims of crime should not have to work so hard to prove the case, and when the victims are deceased, the families should never have to do what they have to do in order to see justice prevail. And we always talk about it in media and online, and you know, at the end of the day, they didn't ask to be here. Their children's, Nicole's granddaughter and daughter should still be with us today. Anybody have anything else to say?
I just don't understand.
I
Yeah.
have a question.
She's gone over and over how you shouldn't have to go through this. And I've seen so many women that do. And a lot of women don't come forward because they get blamed or not believed when they're in a domestic violence situation. Men as well. We need to make this a place where you're safe to go and ask for help before it gets to this point. That people believe you. Even though we're in a country where you're innocent until proven guilty, you shouldn't be made afraid to come forward when you've done this. And these girls were beautiful girls. And people say awful things on Facebook about people they don't even know, and they don't realize that their families are suffering because of it. You know, we just need more kindness in this world, more understanding, and a lot more programs that help women that are in this position. And I say women, I know it's men as well. I don't mean to say that it's just women, because it's not. But we need more support. And I've watched Nicole go through literal hell through this, with mean things from strangers that they post on Instagram and Facebook, and then friends tell you what they've seen on Facebook, and you have to relive that day over and over and over. And the guilt that you feel that you couldn't have stopped it or come forward because we're embarrassed to say what's happened to us, or you don't want to tell your family, or they get you in such a mindset that you just think it's going to change, or you can fix them, or it'll get better, and then it doesn't, and things like this happen, and it needs to stop. And I thank you so much for being so supportive. And Tara is a friend that everybody should have, I tell you.
Amen to that.
So,
Quick thing, what's your relation to the victim?
I've known Nicole for about 25 years. I started as a customer, became a friend. I've watched Meshay used to come in as a little girl to my business, and then I watched her have a little girl the same age as my granddaughter. So they just become family. They love each other's house for birthday parties and Christmas parties and Halloween parties, and they're
What's your name?
Renee.
Renee? How do you spell that?
R-E-N-E-E.
Do you want to share your last name or no?
It's me. M-I-T-T-E-N.
Thank you.
Renee was among the sponsors also for the funeral, her and her business. So when we're talking that it's taken us a year and a half to get here, what people don't realize is victims of crime have to go through so much in order to see justice. And nobody should have to ever have a funeral, let alone for your daughter and your granddaughter. And that took a lot of time and energy, and so many of the community businesses came together, including Renee's business, to make sure that we could do a funeral last year for Meshay and Layla. Nobody pays for the victims, let alone families of victims left behind, to go through counseling week after week, year after year. Who's paying for that? All of that is tremendous, tremendous heaviness on a victim, and in this case, a victim's family that's left behind to make sense, to make everything understanding to where do we go from here. And you'll hear more about plans and such after sentencing, but I'm going to speak as an aunt. I'm going to speak that Meshay and Layla's aunt is my insurance agent. So I've known her for years, and it just so was ironic that they asked NW Cave to get involved. But as a proud aunt, I can tell you, to have the vision that a child is missing is hard enough. To have a vision that mom tried to get help was hard enough. But then to see and hear the evidence that someone raped your granddaughter and then shot her twice and dumped her like trash at 7 years old, it's enough to make anybody sick. And again, we could have prevented this because the individual that's on trial, that's going to be sentenced today, was out on bond for murdering someone else in Arkansas. Don't tell me in the 21st century that the judicial system cannot track somebody down when we can all Google our names and find out everything you want to know about us. So why doesn't the judicial system do that in order to make sure that when bond is asked, it's denied when you're out? It should be denied. I don't care about your rights. You lost your rights when you killed somebody in Arkansas. You lost your rights when you took a gun and tried to shoot your girlfriend. You lost your rights when you decided to kill your girlfriend and her daughter. You lost your rights. So why should he get all the rights and the victims get nothing? And that's why we're here and we're pissed. Somebody asked me, how do you feel? I feel angry that we've had 5 murder cases in a year and a half that we've had to deal with. I feel angry that all of these cases, women were denied a protective order. I feel angry that we have 3 families trying to bring up children left behind because their mothers were murdered. And I am pissed off to the max that in March of 2023, bail was not denied. And I'll leave it at that until we get back here after the hearing. Thank you.
Michelle, just one question. In court documents, Warren has repeatedly denied the child molestation. What do you make of those statements?
You mean the rape?
Yes.
The rape that the evidence showed, if we had gone to trial, he would have been proven to have raped her, but he decided to plea out and they reduced the sentence to molestation. Whatever the case, you killed a woman and her daughter, and evidence is so great. And I commend, we had 3 departments that we know of, Vancouver Police, the Sheriff's Office, and Washington State Patrol, not to mention Washougal when their bodies were found. Law enforcement did their jobs on this case, and it was an airtight case. And he took the easy way out and didn't want to face his maker in front of a jury. That's the bottom line.
Does not having a trial make this harder?
No. And I'll speak on behalf of Nicole right now. This definitely would have been, it's been devastating. But I don't know where we would be next if we had to sit through a 3-week trial with Nicole and her family, because you only will get a tidbit of the evidence until you all ask for the records, if it's not sealed. And nobody should have to sit through that and be re-victimized just because you're a narcissistic, pathological perpetrator. This wasn't his first kill, and the facts would have shown that.
What outcome are you hoping for today?
Personally, N.W. Cave would like to see 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole, but I don't think that's on the table. I think hopefully the judge will do the right thing and do a life sentence without the possibility of parole, but I hope he takes the power of that coat and do something in regards to the molestation and change the facts of that, because this man is a rapist. True and true. Evidence shows it. And he can deny anything he wants. But when he agreed to this plea, he accepted what he did. And he's not as clean cut as he looks on camera. Let me just put it that way. Just do your research. Go to Arkansas. You'll see what kind of guy this is. Thank you.
All right, again, thank you for joining us. That vigil was held earlier today outside of the Vancouver courtroom where Kirkland Warren is currently being sentenced. We have not heard yet what that sentence is. We are expecting life without parole, but again, we do not have official word on that as far as the result of his sentencing for the conviction of murder for Meshay Melendez and Layla Stewart. So we will let you know when we find out what that is. You can follow along, of course, at KPTV.com, follow along on social media, or download our app, and we'll put out a push alert as soon as we know what that sentencing is, and we will bring that to you then. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.